Big numbers on housing starts. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Doc here from North America. How about that? They've come out with some nice building numbers. Hasn't moved much of the stock market at the moment, but market's kind of quiet at the moment. It's kind of like lethargic. Was down about the Dow Jones was down about 110, 115 points. It's down 99 now, so it's not really having much of an effect. Let's see what we can show you on the intraday. You can see a little bounce up in here. Right there, you can see that. After making lows down in the 32 area, we are now trading at the 40 area, 8 handles higher. But we are still down. What are we down? We are down 13 and a half handles still. So we've cut the loss almost in half. It shows some economic growth. I think that freaks things out when we do economic growth. Housing starts were like 1.63 million versus an estimated of 1.4 million. So they went like, ruh-oh, Rorge. That's what they did. They did a ruh-oh, Rorge. And so, and then permits also increased. So, it should be interesting. What else can we say about any of this? I guess not much. I don't see anybody on the chat line yet except for Robin. Hey, Robin! What's happening? ¿Qué pasa? And where are we going to see the dollar index? It's kind of trapped because of the holiday here. We were celebrating how America was one of the first countries in the world to outlaw slavery. Whereas, 2/3 of the world now, or half of the world, still does slavery. I don't know, some crazy thing. So, I don't, but we, here in America, we outlawed slavery over 2 centuries ago. So, pretty cool stuff, And so we get a holiday for that now. I like that. I like that idea. It's the American Passover. Indeed. So, now, from there, what do we do? It's a 4-day week for us, and everybody's all kinds of tuckered out because it was good weather. And lots of barbecues and hanging out and getting things done that we wanted to get done since we had a 3-day weekend. And it was all good to me. All right, so you can see the dollar index right there. Let's go over to the dollar index here on Chicago Quant. Right, there's heating oil. And right underneath heating oil, I believe, is the dollar index right there. There's the September contract. You see it's kind of stalled out, nothing major. We are trying to get into a daily buy, but we got a little red dot there. Let's see, that is yesterday. Let's see if we can fix that. And we switched contracts. You can see it's only going back about 5 or 6 weeks, which is no major shake. The math does the same thing. It doesn't need much to get going. Let's put it that way. Let's see where we're going to go to default. See if it straightens that out a little bit more. Yeah, there we are. I think that's where it is right there. We are just flirting with. That is Friday. No, that's still last night. That's out there's Friday right there. So let's see if we can get this thing to commingle with itself. If I go like that, maybe. Let's go with that. See what that does. Yeah, there we go. So there is today. Oh, there it goes. So there is today. It's trying. It's trying to lift. You can see it's at the 0 line on the daily. The weekly's not having much of an effect of it. Went into the weekly sell last week. Let's take a look at it on J4X. And the weekly on the dollar index probably is a red. Red, red, red. Yeah, see, it's a red. It's starting a second week and a red. And on the Hinky Ashki of a weekly. And you can see here the yellow line is trading at the 56 area and the green is at 32. Wow. What pressure there is there for the dollar to go down, 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 down. And we'll see what they do with the dollar. It's trading in the 102s. We keep on thinking that, that this the support area seems to be the par. It's got that par thing going on, 1.00. It seems to be every time we get even remotely close to it, they just step up and buy again. So, I'm going to have a sip of my tea since there's not many people in the house this morning. There we go. Yeah, so that's the answer to that. Dollar is holding fairly well, I guess you could say. In essence, here it's really going back up again. It's trying to get through the zero line. Now it's in a weekly sell below the manifold, so we're not that excited one way or the other. We just figure it's going to be sloppy, choppy. Mr. Powell does speak this week. Ugh. I wouldn't mind if he spoke and made sense, but when you speak and make no sense, you're better off not opening your mouth at all. What do they always say about, smartest thing a dumb person can do is just not speak. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. They have DeSantis and Biden and Governor Newsom from California having fun with each other. They're battling, I guess you could say. God save the Queen, President Biden. Now he says, "God save the Queen." Nowadays, I don't know where his head's at now. Interesting. All right, now where we go from here? We'll go over to, since no one seems to have any questions. I gave a little delay there so that someone could jump in, but no one wants to jump in, so we'll go to from there. We go over to the euro. Let's see what the euro is up to this morning. There's the euro. You see, it is pressuring the daily sell. Nothing more than that. Nothing major. Let's put it up on J4X. There we are. And right there. Where is the euro? Right there it is. And you see the euro is still going up. It'll start to roll soon. As long as we stay like this, it'll join us. And you can see the green line is in the, where's that at? 78. And the yellow is at 84. So it's still climbing. It should start to roll over very, very soon. Oh, no, wait a minute. It is rolled over. 84. That's 84 on the slow. So it has rolled over. So this is joining in with us very nicely right here, the green line type of thing. The Hinky Ashkies are still having their issues. They'll change. It takes a couple hours. Remember, it's a square root of something or another, averaged by 4 different points of space. Not the Cartesian coordinates, but it's close enough. And that's where we stand at this point in time. So from there, we maneuver our way over to the British pound. Let's see, British pound, GBP USD, right there. Ooh, big tractor going by now. Ooh, it's a big tractor. All right, let's see. Sometimes I'm amazed how well they fit down that road. All right, right there you can see GBP holding green, the yellow line at the 86 area, and the green line at the 76 area. So let's see what it looks like on Chicago Quant. Right there. There we are. And it's doing the same thing. It's showing that pressure underneath, just like the 2 lines here are doing. And the Hinky Ashki will join in soon enough. So far, we're just in one red and nobody else has joined in. We'll see. But I imagine that, if nothing else, I kind of think that the Powell speaking, to Congress this week, I guess it's the old Humphrey Hawkins thing that they do. And they'll discuss the budget and so forth, and he'll shut his mouth and say, that is not my lane. That's what he likes to say when all the other Fed chairs would mention something to Congress, say, you got to cut back spending, you got to be more responsible. He goes, not my business. Talk about a scared child, you know? Oh my goodness. Oh, you might as well play naughty boy. La 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 la. That's what it really comes down to. He is so scared to speak the truth. Look how long he went. Now you're start. Now I'm starting to speak out loud. So now I start to think out loud, and then all I'm thinking about is how him, Mrs. Biden, Mr. Biden, the president, and Mrs. Yellen, the Secretary of Treasury, for over almost a year and a quarter, tried to tell us that inflation did not exist. From Mr. Trump's 1.5% inflation, they got it up to 10% inflation, and they kept on telling us it didn't exist. And then finally, when he did something historic, he raised rates greater than ever before in the same period of time ever of the Federal Reserve's history. You won't hear that much by the media. He started destroying regional banks by doing so because they like to borrow short term and lend long term. That's part of the banking structure. So they got their heads handed to them twice like that because of the lack of acceptance of inflation to start off with. Then for a year plus, they did nothing about it. And when they finally did something, the inflation rate was up around the 9% area, and we're stuck in the 5% area now. So, wreck. Let's see, you can't really wreck an American economy. What you can do is you can slow it, you can entangle it into stupid positions, you can twist it, you can turn it, but in the end result, it will come back. That's why we are the engine of the world economy, and that's why we are king dollar, because in the end, because of the laws and the election system and so forth, we can straighten out stupidity. Whereas, some countries go into stupidity and stay there for a century or two. We might stay in there for 4 years or 6 years or 2 years, but we get out of it pretty quick because we have the correct system. Just like we celebrated, I have to remind you again, world, we celebrated how America was one of the first countries in the world that outlawed slavery. Whereas now, only 2/3 of the world still practice it, or half the world still practices slavery with no problem. So for 2 centuries plus, we've been out of the slavery business, whereas the rest of them still do it every day. All right. So from there, we go over to the Swissy. Let's see what the Swiss is up to. You see the Swiss. Wow, the dollar's getting some strength, isn't there? Some strength. I guess because of the housing starts, that might scare, and they'll raise rates next Fed quarter again. They'll just throw another quarter at it again, something like that. I mean, that's what's going to happen is if we keep on seeing growth, the Federal Reserve is going to do its best to hurt that growth. And so that's why probably the dollar is showing some strength in here, is that they're anticipating Powell will say nothing. Again, a wise man once said, if you're not smart, then don't talk. Keep your mouth shut. And Mr. Powell's going to be yapping all week long with the Congress. And so he doesn't exactly say a lot of smart things to begin with, but he gives opportunity for the world to see how lacking he is in intellect. Lord. All right, from there, let's get the Swissy up on J4X. And there is the Swiss Saltine. We got a little green going on there. We've got green for 2 days right here. That's a Monday and a Tuesday because the currencies do trade without America. They might be dead, but they do trade. And you can see here we're pushing into the daily buy. You can see the weekly is getting close. Close. Interesting how the fast is still down below the manifold, and the slow is trying to turn its head back up again. So it could be just ziggy-zaggy. In other words, they'll give Powell this week the opportunity to say something stupid, say a lot of things stupid, and then from there, then things will calm down again. So this could be I like to call it a digestion, where you kind of eat something and you let it, digest in your stomach. Or some call it consolidation, and it's the same process. Digestion is consolidation. It's where you're breaking down the materials in your stomach, and you've eaten something and you feel stuffed, and then you go, oh, I'm feeling better now because I've drank some water and not eating anything for the last 2 hours, that type of thing. I'm not a piggly wiggly. So, all right. So from there, as you see there, the Swissy doing this and the Swissy doing that. And you can see the green line is at the 30 and the slow mover is at the 21. So it's trying to lift up, and I can understand why. No wonder the euro is down and the British pound is down, and now you see the Swiss is down against the dollar. I saw an interesting headline, just solely because I guess what we're going to use this when we get to the BRICS. We have BRIC news every day. Doc has the BRIC index. He calls it the BRIC index, and we follow what we consider the BRICS. And so when we get there, I've got some really interesting news on one of the mini BRICS. We have a bunch of major BRICS, and then we have mini BRICS. All right, let's go over to who's next. Yen. So let's go to the yen and see what Mr. and Mrs. Yen are up to this morning. There it is right there. It's coming off a little bit of the weakness, heading down today. We're in that buy right there. You can see that strength there. Been in that weekly buy for a while now. It's gone 10 handles since we went into the weekly buy. And let's put it up on J4X. Right there. It's been climbing like we're climbing here. And let's see where our lines are at. Right there. We got the green line at 89. We've got the slow moving line at 83. So it's still climbing up. It hasn't done the curve yet. Where is it? Look, I hit 90 just now. Yep. And you can see here on our work, we've already rolled over. We're starting to do the little roll. Not going into a sell or anything, just doing a little rollover. This will catch up in a short period of time. It's the best tool out there. This is the Doc Manhattan indicator. And we combined all these three things together. They're public indicators, and you put them together, and they emulate our math almost like 68% of the time. They act like it. And more of it is a lag than anything else. All right, what I mean by lag of time. In other words, it'll catch up to ours over time, over the next hour or 2 hours. All right, from there, kind of nice though, seeing the yen trying to roll over. It's interesting how it's not participating with the Swiss, the euro, and the British pound. It's taking the other direction. That's why they always say sometimes, the Japanese yen likes to go walkabout. Does what it does. It does what it wants to do. It's like a honey badger. It don't care. It'll do what it wants to do. And maybe in many ways we may be identifying profit taking. So in other words, when we see it happening in the euro and the yen, the euro and the Swiss and the British pound, losing against the dollar after gaining against the dollar, and then we see the Japanese yen gaining against the dollar, not losing anymore, in what we would call an inverse relationship, all four of them in the end may be doing something very simple, and that's that consolidation profit taking. That's what it may be doing more than anything else. And I never really say that out loud. But I never really say it out loud. But it's nice to be able to convey that thought, a consolidation and profit taking. And that's what we're seeing in the currencies today, is that consolidation and profit taking. And that's neat, because the yen is confirming it. It's profit taking, and so is the British pound and the Swiss franc and the euro. But what's interesting is, as they try to do in modern physics with the symmetry, it's not symmetrical. It's the inverse, which is very interesting. Doc loves watching inverses occur. It's kind of like insider days, outsider days type of thing, higher highs, lower lows, or vice versa. Lower highs and higher lows where they consolidate. Matter of fact, that should be the title today, because I think what we'll do is we will emphasize some of that characteristic that we see, and it's something we normally don't talk about. And since no one's really asking any questions, Doc can go walkabout in his head. And when I go walkabout in my head, then you don't know what can come out. Anything can come out. It's, as my friends used to refer to it when I was in high school, they used to call it the screw box. They said it goes in spinning one way and comes out, an idea comes out spinning in a different direction. And they used to refer to my train of thought as the screw box. So you had this box, and a screw was going in on one side, and then they said the screw would come out spinning the opposite direction. And that was, they said, I had something, but they just didn't understand how I derived what I had. In other words, the concept that I was pushing. So today I think we're going to say consolidation and compared to, let's see if we can get the word right even. Can I spell that word right? There we are. Let's do it this way. Forex. There we are. I'm writing this down so I remember. Verse profit taking. Is it? Versus profits. I like that. Forex consolidation versus profits. Exactly. All right. So, yeah, that's what we're seeing there. And I think that's going to be one of our new calling cards. I think we're going to basically use that, look at that in a much more precise way. Look at the way the major currencies are trading against, compared, I guess you could say, compared to the yen. Yeah, compared to the yen. So in other words, I don't think this is anything major change, just a little, because we're seeing some growth in the United States more than expected. They're probably going to start anticipating a little increase in interest rates going into the next meeting. And then Powell probably, like I said, there was a wise man that once said, if you're not smart, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Mr. Powell refuses to do so. All right. From there, we're going to drift over to the Turkish lira. And there's the Turkish lira kind of stuck up on that plateau now. It's trying to push its way into the sell. The weekly, it don't care. The weekly, look at that weekly over here. It does not care. Not whatsoever. Yeah, it's been in a weekly buy for a while. And let's put it right here. Let's take a look at Mr. Turkish lira. There it is, Euro Turkish lira. It's what an interesting move it's had in just the last 4 weeks. So in the last 4 weeks, this product, is that right? Yeah, so there's 4 weeks right there, 5 weeks right there. 5 weeks, it's gone from 21 to 20, is that 26 and change or 27? What do we have here? We got a high there of 26.91. 44, 26.9144. This product, that's heading for like a what is that, a 27% expansion in price. Ouch. That hurts. And as long as we're in that weekly buy, we constantly say we're looking for the 31 to 33 area. So it's like hold your hats. Strap in, because I don't know what's coming next, but we like to now look at this as the little ruble. This is definitely turning into the little ruble. I hope one day we're not seeing 77 to the euro. It'll be like, oh my God. Devalue that currency to get business into the country, or change policies and get business into the country. Which one would you choose if you were leader? I don't know. That's only left up to the individual to figure out themselves. All right. And then from there, from the Turkish lira, we're going to slide over to, where do we go from there? We go to, Doc will find it in a second. Right there. We go over to, from the Turkish lira, we slide over to the. That's right, and we we do. In many ways, I guess we should do CAD, and then we could go to South African rand and Mexican peso. But I like to give respect to the M brick, as we call it. So we're going to go right to the Mexican peso. Now we look at the Mexican peso as the major brick. That's what it is. It's the major brick, and this major brick has the Mexican peso in it. And since the country has declared that it wants to be part of the BRICS. And so the major brick is obviously the dominant brick in the world is the Mexican peso. It's the most powerful of the BRICS. And we always give a quick rundown of the what we're looking at there. So they could probably change the name of it because the Brazil real is a micro brick. And the second biggest brick in the index is the South African rand. So let's look at this first. There is the brick. Obviously, it's been gaining against the dollar, but today it's having a little problem right there. And you can see it's trying to lift through the daily buy as we speak right there. The weekly itself down in here, you can see where's the zero line? Let's get that zero line in the right position, right? So you see that the fast is trying to lift up, but they're both underneath this manifold, the negative manifold there. Oop, woo, the negative manifold, not naked. And so you can see right there, that's feeling the pressure there. And the slow-moving algorithm is pushing underneath that. Now when we go over to J4X, and we look at major brick, you can see here it's just been sliding down. It's trying to turn up a little bit. It's at 15 there. It's at 23 there. So the math is turning up here too at the same time in the Doc Manhattan indicators. And at the same time on J4X, we're all red and it'll be turning green as long as we stay firm right here for a while. It'll catch up in a few hours. So major brick is showing a little weakness this morning as the dollar shows a little strength this morning. We'll show you that. Where's it at? Right. Let's go like that. And we're going to show you the dollar index, and right there. And as you can see right there, there's the dollar index, and it is also lifting up, but it's showing a volatility signal more than anything else with green and red 2 days in a row. Pressing up, but the weekly itself is saying, nah. It's like that naughty boy again. La 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 la. And it doesn't want to hear it. All right, now from there we slide back to the peso, the major brick. We'll find it in a second. Right there. There's the major brick. And so that's where we stand with that at this point in time. Now from the Mexican peso, we go to the second biggest brick in the M brick, and that is the South African rand. And right there, South African rand's been doing the same thing. It's been showing lots of strength. Now we're thinking, since the rand has been undervalued because of the political turmoil they're having at the moment in South Africa, that maybe that's cleaning it up a little bit more. But notice it joined in with the other brick. So it's doing what bricks are supposed to do, gain against the dollar. And at the same time, you can see it's trying to get through the zero line. And when you see it over here on J4X, right there, you see that same situation, 6.947 now on the slow. But the fast is over double that at 15. So it's doing the same thing. It's turning up. And the Hinky Ashki will join in soon. It's just a matter of time. Remember, it's a square root of blah, 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 4 different points in space. So squared or doubled or whatever. End result is that. And then divided. It's got this. They got a. Hinky Ashkis are like string theory. It's like Hamiltonian. They're doing the square it and then divide it, and so that's what they're doing there. And as you can see here, we are already ahead of the curve because our math picks up that stuff hours beforehand. But the Doc Manhattan indicator is more accurate than, you know, RSIs and parabolics and MACDs, and you put a MACD in there and compare it to this, and you're going to find that this is way more accurate. All right, now what do we got from there? So there's the South African rand, and what we do when we look at the rand, just like when we look at the Canadian dollar, we look at a commodity. In this case here, we look at gold, and we look at the gold. Where's it at? Gold. Where's gold at? It's in here somewhere. There it is, right there. There's gold. You see it's really trapped in some type of triangle now at this point, going nowhere. It's doing the consolidation thing. The yellow line is at the 56 area, and the green line is at the 56 area. So they're smacking against each other. Now we'll slide over to the future, and that is the future of technical analysis, and that is Doc's work. And right there, bingo, bango, bongo. And let's put gold up on there. And there is the gold in the July contract, the August contract. And you can see here we are above, doing the same thing. The math is trying to turn up, and this is kind of right on the edge. It's touching it, going below it, back above it. Our work is turned up, and it's in a weekly sell, so you can't take the bounce too serious. We think of it more as a dead cat bounce, or you can say basically a consolidation, and that would justify seeing in the hinkies the way it's consolidating there. For us, we've put a rectangle to emphasize the consolidation that we've been watching for weeks now. And that's that consolidation that we constantly see going on. That's why that box is on the chart. It's just a big consolidation going on. You know, it's at the low end of the range of the consolidation. We kind of, with the way the world is, it's awful hard to believe that we're going to see anything too damaging. But you know, anything's possible when you have the Federal Reserve controlling everything. You know, they are the buyer of last resort. They are the specialist of old. You know, the specialist of the New York Stock Exchange used to rule the world. Now it is the Federal Reserve who rules the world. And they've cut out the New York Stock Exchange altogether. That's why it was sold. That's why they sold the New York Stock Exchange to another exchange. So it's just expensive advertisement now. That's all that is. It does 1/5 of the volume of the New York Stock Exchange. That's all. The volume of the New York Stock Exchange is 1/5 of the NASDAQ 100 now. And 7 of the Dow 30 stocks are NASDAQ stocks. So it's kind of like slavery. The world bitches about it all the time, and America is the oldest free, unslavery country in the world, but somehow or another we're to blame for it at the same time. I think it was Pharaoh in Egypt you could really start it off with, but that's just my opinion. So from there we go to, so we saw gold, we saw the South African rand, and this consolidation is very fascinating. The metals is consolidating, and at the same time, let's go back to the currency. Where's that M brick? Mr. and Mrs. Mouse. There we are. I want to get back to the currencies. There it is. So here, that's not a consolidation. Just in the last couple of days, that's nothing. Just 2 days of consolidation compared to weeks upon weeks of consolidation. This thing has been rallying against the dollar. So, you know, there's a question mark. What is doing it? Is it the politics dying down in South Africa, or B, is it the two major bricks are rallying against the dollar? I'll go with this latter, really. I think that's what it really is, and you can't hold back the caliber of the South African rand compared to the other bricks. The third brick we don't really have up on the screen, but we probably should. You know, the third brick is the Indian rupee, and I don't even know what the symbol is of that. So let's see if we can find what the symbol is. That is Indian rupee, and that's the third most powerful brick in the world. Indian rupee. There it is, right there. Indian rupee. Let's see if I can find what the symbol is. Come on, give me a symbol. So if I go IN, let's see if we can do this again. Trying to get it up on J4X. And then maybe I can get it on Chicago Quant. That would be kind of cool. IND I A N Indian rupee. How about if I just try to spell rupee? RUPEE. Well, that didn't work. Let's try it this way. How about the rupee? RUP. Interesting. I'm sure it's up there somewhere. Let's try that one more time. Rupee. I got the P and it got somewhere. Let's try that again. All right. Let's see. Is that one of them? Mexican this. Groupie. I'll tell you. I don't know. I got the rupee trading at basically a penny. So it's a penny to the dollar. So it's like 100 rupees make a dollar. It looks like to me, or close to it. Let's see. Code INR. Indian rupee symbol INR. Let's see if that'll do it. INR. INR. I don't want to do it either, does it? Not found. Let's see if I can get it on Chicago Quant. INR. Where are we going to put this? Because I'd love to be able to have, the bricks. Now, this is not a micro brick. This is a legitimate brick. It looks like it has 8. It should be 8% of the index. So it's not something you just laugh off. GBP, JBY, AUD, ASD. Let's see what that is. They've stopped quoting that back in March. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to slide it in there and see if I can get that. Let's see. I'm going to try to get the rupee. That would be nice. Would be nice if the BRICS would have currencies besides the Mexican peso and the South African rand that actually trade with any value to them. INR. Let's see. Add a symbol. INR. Cash. Look up. INR again. I think we might be able to get it. No. Bummer. So we can only follow 2 solid bricks. You can't get a quote in the Brazilian real. You can't get a quote in the Indian rupee. What else can't we get a quote in? That fixed unit of China. That's even worse. It's just a fixed unit. And then the currency that shall not be named, the ruble, is not even being quoted anymore. What a joke! My God. So 2 of the bricks are only being quoted at this point. How disappointing, Anyhow, all right. I'm not going to whine about it that much. From there, let's see, where were we? Let's see, the ruble stopped trading like back in March. So we don't even have quotes in that. That's March of this year, right? Yeah, March of this year. They stopped giving us quotes altogether on it. And then from there, all right, so we were looking at the South African rand. Let's go back to the South African rand, and we can't get and then that's the second biggest brick. So I guess that's about it. And we've seen what gold is doing. So it's obviously trading off, not in analogous or not with gold anymore. So Maybe they're trading against the dollar. Maybe that's what it really is between the Mexican peso and the South African rand. They're both roaring against the dollar. So, all right. From there, we slide over to where do we go from there? Oh, Canadian. Let's look at the CAD. The CAD was doing the same thing, which has been kind of interesting. It's been doing that big gain against the dollar. It's broken that triangle that we've been staring at for months now. And at the same time, normally when this is going down, oil is ripping on the upside. So let's put oil up on J4X there. This is really not ripping oil. Here's light Texas intermediate. You can see in the same time period, going back into, what's that, middle, where's that at? Middle May, is that what that is? Middle May. And there is, middle May right here. It's going down against, it's gaining against the dollar. Now it's been losing against, oh no, this is crude oil. Crude oil is much lower, compared to that 75 area. Now we're at 71. We've traded all the way down to 66. It's not like the South African rand. It's not matching up to the commodity that it normally matches up to, which is kind of fascinating in its own right, So that's the action of it all, really, in the currencies. And let's put Canadian up on J4X right there. And so you can see, it's been just gliding down like the South African rand and the Mexican peso, gaining against the dollar. And in many ways, that may, they've raised rates more than we've raised rates of late. And so probably we all have the same type of inflation, but they're raising the rates on their currencies, and that's probably putting more punch into the buyer side of sell dollar, buy that. Like a fundamental thing. It's kind of neat to watch the fundamentals actually happen once in a while. Because sometimes I'm just shaking my head. The fundamentals are screaming in our ear, and no one is paying attention, And that's the weird part, Now, from there, what can we say about anything more? I guess that's about it. We're done the currencies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up. No, I'm not going to throw up that way. I'm going to put up on the screen so that if Benny shows up later on to take a look at the video, he'll be able to see the product he's been staring at. There it is right there. And there is the, no, that's the Euro CAD. Where is it at? It's down at the bottom. There it is right there. GBP AUD. And you see we are been in the buy now for 4 days, and we are piercing the weekly again. It's turning up. Oh my goodness, look at that. The manifold has been pierced by the slow. So let's put it up on J4X. So obviously there's going to be some buyers coming in there, traders. It's a win. It's a win. Uh-oh. Ruh-oh, Rorge. GBP. Right there. There it is. And we've got the slow moving at 59.9. We've got, ooh, look at the fast. 77 almost. 76.7. It's zipping. They're putting some pedal to the metal. Pushing hard. Yeah. Matter of fact, we're going to go put the official in there because of if it survives that tomorrow, at the end of the day even, it tells us that we're taking off. This product is going to go up, up, and away in a beautiful balloon. That's what that says. All right, so we put that there, and there it is, the magic. The magic. And the new one could be upside. It's been in a daily buy. Now we've got it piercing. What do we got here? We got the slow, still the fast moving slow. But if this thing busts through, Zoom to the moon, baby. Zoom to the moon. All right. Next stop. I don't know if it's the moon. It could be literally just a mountaintop. Won't even leave Earth, but it's definitely strength. You can see it there for the last 2 days. Okay. So from there, we slide over to, I think he looks at one other one too. Was it the Jap yen? Yeah, I think so. So it's cable yen. All right, it's right there. And it's doing the same thing as the dollar yen. You know, they're doing a little consolidation. It's been in that weekly buy since the beginning or the end of March. It's run from the 165 area up to the 182 area. It's been a nice little punch on the upside there on a weekly. And the daily buys have been some fun time buys. Buy win, buy win, buy win, buy win, buy win. Some were great wins, some were little wins. Buy win. So, not bad. All right. So, from there, we drift over to, where do we drift over to? We're going to go from those two and call it a day. That's what it is. We call it a day. In the currencies, that is. I'm going to close that. If he does show up, fine. If not, c'est la vie. Where is it at? Save workspace. There we go. And let's close. I think Robin, Robin sent me something. Somebody wanted to see something. What was it? It wasn't Doc. Add, that's what it was. It was Euro. That's what. So let me save the Euro before I cut out of here. Let's go find Euro. There's the Euro. It's flirting with the daily sell today, so we'll put the little red line in there like so. And it's in the weekly buy still. And let's put the name of it in there like so. And this is, what is that symbol? It's a Euro EUR USD. There we are. Let's save that. Where do we put it? Put it back in here. EUR. We'll just go with UD like that. There we go. So we got that saved because I think Robin wanted that. All right, now from there we're gonna just save and get out of there for the time being and head over to. We'll go do the metals. You see what the metals are up to. Let's see where silver is today. We see, there's gold. Gold is, working its way down. It means they're worried about interest rates too. That's usually what that means. And then from there, there's silver. Silver's doing the same thing. It's worried about interest rates also. And let's see, where's it at? That was the buy right there on Friday. No, there's Friday. Thursday. We're in the weekly buy there. But today, they're really pushing on it on the downside. So it was a nice little win. And now, if you're not doing good money management, you are giving up profits. So you always want to take some profits and then keep a stop to protect, unless you marry it with an option and you're pretty much protected there. From there, you go over to the copper. Oh, let me do this too. Let me save this. Save that. That's the silver. And let's put the gold, save that. There's gold. And that consolidation has been very clear to us. And it doesn't seem to want to quit. Right there. Now let's look at the copper. We saw an interesting story. When I see copper, I think of China, And saw an interesting story. Let's see if we can find it. I want to put it up on the screen. It was a very interesting story. I was a little surprised. It caught my eye. Again, we cannot, we don't really get an opportunity to, basically see what's going on in China. They hide a lot, and so when we see these stories, it kind of says, hey, we should pay attention to this, because it's the only way we can see inside the country itself. So here it is right there. And basically what it said was, let's see, where's it at? Futures global markets drop for second day after China stimulus disappoints. Okay, that's this morning. And so I guess they're not putting enough money into these stimuluses. They're, it's like everything else with China. They say things, but they don't do them, They claim they're going to invade Taiwan, but they're not. They tell us they want to be the world reserve currency, but they don't want to have a currency at the same time. You got to have a currency to be the world reserve currency. Things like that. They're always doing stuff like that. It says here that in a pre-market trading, U.S. listed Chinese stocks declined after China's state council failed to issue specific support measures and banks offered moderate rate cuts, disappointing investors who had counted on more policy stimulus as the country's economic recovery slows. Alibaba shares are down 2.5%. PDD Holdings 4.1%. JD Corn down 4%. Here are some other notable pre-market movers, and so Nike's down a little bit and so forth. And it just, if you want to be something, then do it. But if you're going to say it and not do it, then be like Pal. Say nothing. Just say nothing. Because when you speak and you do foolish things, say foolish things, people can hear that and then they go, oh, shoot, what the hell is he talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, what is that? What is that? So that is the question mark out of it all. Is that, what kind of garbage is that? You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me. So from there, I don't think there's anything more we can really say about that, in the sense that it makes no sense. It really doesn't make any sense. There we are. There we go. And so that's what it is. So now from there, let's see, how do I get rid of that? All right, so from there, there's copper, and copper is firm, up a little bit today, and it kind of represents China's growth, I guess. I don't know. Usually copper strong, China strong, but in this case here, it's sold off yesterday, made new lows today, kind of trying to perk up at the moment. It's nothing major. It's still sloppy. Let's take a look at platinum. There's platinum. Platinum weekly sell for weeks, and they're driving it into the sell today at the same time. Let's fix that. So the daily is joining in with the weekly, which is, kind of not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing. Right there. Look at that. Smack-a-doodle-doo. So it's finding its way down. All right, now let's save that. There we are. Nobody chimed in today. It's just me and Robin. All right, then we're out of here. So this is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all your trading friends. Ta-ta, later, traders. We will catch you all in the same time zone tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard. Bye-bye.